Hey everybody, welcome to the Fancy Werewolf Lounge. Come in, put your butts on your butts on the stools and wiggle them. And I need a opening. I need a real opening.
Thank you for that, Josh.
Yeah, that's a common phrase in bars, right? Put your butt on the stool.
Sure.
I never heard it until today.
I hear that in every bar I go to.
Every bar you go to, so how you guys? So first off, welcome to the Fancy Werewolf Lounge. I am Josh Pfizer.
Hey, I'm Liberty Bell. What's up?
Owl mean.
All right, how you guys doing today?
Good.
Yeah,
doing pretty good. Yeah. Slept till 1:30 today, so up a little bit earlier than last weekend.
Yeah, slacker life.
Right.
Yep. You guys drinking today?
I am.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm on that young pink Whitney.
Aloe?
This is vodka and some wine.
You're doing that again.
Same what you did last week?
Yeah, that's what I fucked with.
Can I be honest? It sounds like one of those drinks, like young rappers drink now, like how they drink cough syrup, apparently.
Oh, scissor?
Yeah,
that's codeine. I gotta get some codeine. I probably have some if I look.
That kills people. Come on, man.
Well, if you do it right.
Yeah, you can say that by okay. But thank you all for tuning in to our second episode. We got some pretty decent responses from the last episode, so thank you all for that. And
I listened to
it. Thank you, Aloe. Thank you for listening to the podcast that you were on. But it's not just us today. We are graced today by a Des Moines comedian, Mr. Dante Powell. How you doing, man? Dante?
I'm great. How are you?
We just introduced. Yeah, we're having a little bit of trouble with connecting with Dante, but we're gonna try to struggle through it. Yeah, how have you been, man?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing our best. I think we all know, like, yeah, things are a bit off for everybody these days. In that vein, before we get started with the more personal questions, well, these are actually pretty personal, but we're going to ask everybody who comes on here, what are you doing to stay well, mentally, physically, whatever?
I'm fishing. I'm jerking off. I cook more, and I generally try to just mind my business.
That's a good rule to have in general. Yeah. So have you is there any media you're consuming right now to help keep your mind off of things?
I got into my Xbox a little more, but I started watching Curb Your Enthusiasm. That's been pretty good.
Yeah.
What else? I started watching Ozark. So I'm getting into the TV shows that everyone's been telling me about, but I haven't been watching. And now I'm finally doing it.
Yeah, all the annoying people like me who always recommend shows are just now just like, now you have no excuse. You have to see Breaking Bad.
Right. Yeah. I don't mind. They're both great shows. So
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so Dante, you're a comedian out of Des Moines.
Yes.
Right? Yes. So where's the start for you? As far as I can tell, your YouTube channel goes back 6 years, but how long have you been doing comedy in total?
So 6 years. I started April 1st, 2014.
Nice. All right.
No. And I started here, and everything I've done to this point has been based here in Des Moines. So I know I'm like lucky that I got to do that. So I try not to take it for granted.
Right. So what is the scene like out there? I guess me personally, I'm not very familiar. I think Aloe, you know quite a bit about the scene yourself. Liberty probably a little bit as well, but Dante, you're in the middle of it. So what's this Des Moines scene like?
I mean, you're looking at it. No, I'm kidding.
You ain't wrong.
All your Des Moines homies are just now like, what the fuck?
I know.
Son of a bitch.
I actually like we got a pretty good scene. Like it's starting to grow and pick up. They just opened a new club here called Tiki's that was doing really well before the pandemic hit, and we got a lot of new people who had just started in the past, 2-3 years who were coming along really well. The Funny Bone here is putting locals on as often as they can. So we're coming along. We're just trying to keep the scene as healthy as you can. I don't really get to do a lot of scene stuff anymore because I've been working the road so much. So there are new comics in town who don't know who I am or
right.
is which is that's kind of how you want it to go. You want to see the progression and the people starting to advance and move out of the way so the newer guys have a chance to do what they need to do to learn and thrive like we did to put us where we are.
Right. Yeah. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your career? How, where was your first, did you start with an open mic or, how did you get into it?
So yeah, the first open mic I did was at House of Bricks, which used to be the spot for the Tuesday night open mic in Des Moines. It was a real solid mic that was around for forever, as far as I could tell. And I just went one Tuesday, and I got up, and I liked it, so I kept going back. And then one day, someone from out of town was at a show. They were like, "Hey, you're pretty funny. I'll give you, $100 if you come to Omaha and do stand up." I was like, "All right." And then I did that show, and someone there was like, "Hey, I'll give you $50 if you come to Kansas City." And I was like, "All right." And it just kept it kept happening.
You just kept hopping to city to city.
I mean, I would have done it for free because I just was having fun doing it. And so then, but because of that, it kind of taught me to value what I was doing. Because at first I was so timid and I just listened to what everyone else was saying. And everyone who had started before me, well, not everyone, but a lot of the guys were still figuring it out themselves. And so my trajectory wasn't for them. It was specifically for me, in that I'm the kind of guy that can go somewhere and network and, do well on stage and turn it into something else. And, that wasn't how a lot of guys around here saw things. They saw it as you get good in Des Moines, then you move to New York or LA. And I was just like, I didn't know. So I just did it the way that came natural to me.
That's pretty nice. That's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
How have you been trying to stay creative through all of this, through quarantine and the pandemic?
I haven't put much pressure on myself to be creative. I've just kind of been dealing with it. And so I write jokes if they come to me, but for the most part, I just kind of, put myself in TV shows or Xbox or fishing or whatever. And then, like I said, if something comes to me, I'm like, okay, that's funny. I need to figure something out with that when I get a chance. But I haven't been pushing to be creative just because, this is, we'll have plenty of time to talk about quarantine and the pandemic once things open back up.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people are just trying not to beat themselves up too much about just generally being bummed about everything that's going on. Just kind of not trying to be oh wow, I'm a piece of shit because I haven't perfected my 45 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't have my Comedy Central special down yet.
Most people aren't Dante, so they don't have to worry about that.
That's not what's happening.
I like Dante just being like, oh no, stop. But
yeah, that's like, one of the things I appreciate most about Dante. I've been lucky to have him on several of my shows before, and he's, I don't have much money to offer him or anything, but he's always been super humble and wants to work with people and help build their stuff up too. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I enjoy doing it. So thank you for having me on the stuff. I just want to tell jokes and make people laugh. So why not do shows? That's the point of all this.
Right. Absolutely.
Right. So one thing I've noticed from your stand, like looking at your videos, you have one video where you proudly, it seems, talk about how you are really into conspiracy theories.
Yeah.
So what are some things like right now you're hearing about conspiracy theories? Personally, I love hearing the stuff, but I don't try to delve too deeply because you get, like, if you get too far into every single conspiracy theory, there's one version where it's just like, and then the Jews. So I don't try to delve into it. But what about you? What are you into right now?
Right now, I really like that 5G causes coronavirus.
Oh my God.
I've been hearing so much about 5G in terms of conspiracy theories lately, and I just don't really understand because I did hear about the 5G and like either that's causing corona or it's causing this whole other radiation thing.
I mean, listen, nothing in the world gets me excited. And I want to be clear that, like, I'm not actually a conspiracy theorist, just to put that out there.
Right.
But all of them can't be wrong. Like, I'm excited anytime something's proven right. But the thing is, like, I just enjoy that people will take something fairly small and run with it. And it's easily, like, debunked. And so, you look at people are like, look at these maps of where there are 5G antennas and look at these maps of where COVID is spreading. You're like, oh, you mean population density maps?
Yeah,
what you're talking about?
How could a place that most likely would get the first 5G towers also be major cities, and how could they also get a lot of corona? Oh, wow.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just think about the IQ of the kind of people that get locked into conspiracy theories or run away with it, it makes sense.
Well, I don't think even it's IQ. Like, well, here's the thing. Like, I've heard this before. A lot of people who are supposedly incredibly smart, scientists, professors, stuff like that, they are actually very susceptible to being in cults because in their mind, because they have such IQs, they have to be right. Like people with inflated sense of self through the typical metrics of intelligence most likely are going to probably believe conspiracy theories more than honestly the average person.
Okay,
that's one theory.
I just look it up. Like, honestly, all these. Okay, so you're telling me like tech bros who have gotten an inflated sense of self because they're told they're the smartest people ever aren't.
Well, there's different kinds of intelligence.
Yes,
you got to.
That's actually
some of those people are numbers and memorizing certain formulas and shit. And then there's like common sense, where you can just feel a vibe in the way something should be.
Yeah. And that doesn't always translate to IQ. That's all I'm saying. Like I don't like IQ.
Okay,
as a metric.
I'll agree with that. I'll agree with it.
I just an IQ has a terrible like history of being used for eugenics. So that thing. But what Dante? What do you think about QAnon?
So I just recently heard about them in the first place. I didn't know they existed.
You just recently heard about them?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, what's that sound? I think the government's listening in.
Probably.
Hello,
That's
hello. I think they're getting what's going on over there.
Josh, every time do we have to tell you to mind your business? Like Dante's like, I'm just minding my business. Josh is over here trying to rat somebody out.
Oh yeah, I'm the one that's doing the
First you bust me out about
gurgling sound
being
right up to the microphone.
Oh, you guys can hear that?
But you just heard about QAnon, like Jess did?
like in the past 6 months or so.
Okay. Yeah, but that stuff is crazy in and of itself because they believe there's like this weird big figure behind the scenes, and that do you guys know about this, Aloe Liberty?
I have no idea. It sounds familiar, but I don't get too much into that stuff. It's entertainment to me, honestly.
It honestly, like QAnon is incredibly entertaining because they believe that Donald Trump is going to put all the like Obama and Hillary Clinton in prison for child trafficking, specifically child. Like a lot of that conspiracy has to do with that. Yeah,
I know. I heard about Pizzagate. They were diddling kids in a pizza shop somewhere in Washington D.C. or something like that. And there's a network of. Yeah, I've heard that.
It started with Pizzagate, and then like now there's like, well, it's this guy named Q who claims to be in the CIA and working things from the inside, but it's fucking weird. It's
some of that stuff I'm just like, because I mean, in the past few years I've sort of grown to love Alex Jones, and I just like I like
just sort of.
Listen. My guy is out here doing it. He'll eat that.
Like I'll admit, he goes like wasn't the latest like clip to come out about him that he said like he'll eat his neighbors.
Yes, which is solid.
Like it just seems like the logical evolution of Alex Jones. Just like he goes from a entertaining Austin public access guy to just a complete psycho.
He's oh boy, he's a tough one to deal with, because sometimes he'll be right on the money about a point, and he can't just let that be enough. It has to be like he has to be like, not only am I right about this, and so he'll be like, Hillary Clinton is evil. And she's evil because she's a lizard person. And it's like, bro, you like.
It's just like, man, you could actually make some like that. That's one of those things where, again, QAnon kind of gets to me because it's just like there are legit reasons to like not like Hillary Clinton or other like top government officials. It's not this made up thing that, like, she doesn't have to be involved with child trafficking. Like, she can just be bad on her own.
I agree wholeheartedly. I just don't know. Like, maybe it's for the sake of selling what he's selling, but it's a little weird that he goes as hard as he does on the extreme stuff.
But it sells. I mean, don't you think that's part of it?
That's a lot of his like business is like selling weird shit because of these conspiracy theories.
And a lot of it's actually I can't believe he said that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well,
I don't know.
It's kind of it is like talking about Donald Trump in that like the discussion is like, oh, he's just doing it to get a rise out of the libs, or it's like, oh, he actually isn't. Like, it's hard. It's one of those things that's hard to tell, but also not, because I don't think he's aware enough to like be that kind of troll.
But I kind of feel like he is.
Donald Trump?
Yeah. Like, I saw him the other day. Donald Trump did one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life. He was at one of his what are they called? The briefings. Yeah. And at the briefing, there was a black woman there reporting. She was like, President Trump, don't you think it's a little weird that you are out here calling it the Chinese virus? Don't you think that that's a little racist and that people are going to be upset by that? And he was just like, what did you say I called it? And she was like, the China virus. He's like, well, I couldn't hear you. One more time. What'd you say I called it? And she was like, the China flu, sir. He was just like, and he was so pleased with himself. He was like, oh, but I don't know. I don't think it's racist. They don't think it's racist, do you? Huh? And like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, he does.
I think to a certain extent he does, but I think it's also
I think
the
he's
kind of
learning.
thing, I think it's the kind of thing like a 12-year-old getting a rise out of their teacher. Like there's really no point to it. He doesn't like come out looking good in the end. He just does it because he's an asshole.
But you know, you gotta. There's a level to trolling where it's like you troll because you don't care, and that's the ultimate. Like,
Which is a quality you want in a leader of your nation.
But I mean, like you have to keep in mind, like if he doesn't care, then what harm are we doing him, calling him stupid or making fun of his hands or whatever? Like that's the ultimate victory, to be in the place where you're like, yeah, I have small hands, I'm dumb, and I'm your president. How does that feel? Like,
but I think he has too much ego for that. I really don't think like he would, because even with the small hands thing, he like, you know, are these small hands? These are big hands. Like I honestly think like he has too much of an ego to like go that far, and to be like, oh, I don't care what you think about me.
I mean,
I don't think he gives a shit.
I think he's gonna win the next election.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, that's
no
a
doubt.
whole other, yeah.
I don't think that, but I see the point that you're making.
I've seen, like, just looking at his history, he just cannot stand not being loved by a certain group of people, and it's a certain group of people that like will like love that whole like macho bullshit. So he's gonna try to peacock that shit.
Yeah.
I swear to God, Donald Trump has read the game. He knows about peacocking. That's why his hair is like that. It's a choice. It's not an accident that happened to him. It's a choice that he makes because he like when he goes into the club, he just wants to be like, oh, like he wants the girls to be like, oh, who's that with the possum on his head? Better.
I think the possums are cuter than Donald Trump's hair, just personally, but whatever.
I mean, rat snakes.
Rat snakes.
If there's any rodent that looks like that's basically a snake, it's the possums. I'm gonna give weasels and ferrets like a break on this one. Like you just look at the faces of possums; they're like very sharp and pointy.
Yeah, I just killed a possum the other day.
Yeah.
Ooh, what'd you use?
Truck?
Out of self-defense or in cold blood?
With the truck. Come on, you guys know Aloe better than that.
No, he might have used a rake.
Yeah, well, and you know, also with the truck, he probably might have been aiming for it. You don't know. You weren't there. Probably. Probably had to swerve just to get at it.
No, I made a decision. I'm not going to leave my lane. It was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Things happen, you know. It's part of business.
Well, because of you, 10,000 ticks are still alive. Thanks a lot, Aloe.
Yeah, you gave us all Lyme disease. We were worried about Corona, but now we got to deal with that shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's all going to come to an end anyway.
Oh.
I beat a skunk to death with a golf club once. I'll admit it.
Are you guys happy that you're alive during this?
I said I once beat a skunk to death with a golf club.
Oh, that's crazy.
And that does explain the the bodies in your freezer. So
Liberty Vic in the building.
Dude, well, I grew up on a farm. We had to kill shit sometimes, you know.
It just seems excessive to do it with a golf club. It seems like.
Well, we tried to.
Is it a
Okay, like
game
my
to you,
little brother and
Liberty? Is
I. No, it
murdering
was not a
animals
game to me. I cried while I was doing it. So fuck you.
Oh man, I wish there were cameras there.
And two, like at the time, I didn't have a real gun yet. I just had a BB gun. And this skunk was like out during the middle of the day. It was looking mangy as hell.
Yeah,
My
pump it up
dog
like
was all
50
up in its
times.
business. I'm like, dude, my dog's gonna get bit by this fucking rabid skunk. Then my dog's gonna die. My dad was gone. So my brother and I are out there with our BB guns, like trying to kill this skunk, and we keep hitting the motherfucker in the head, and it wasn't dying. So, you know, sometimes you just have to take matters in your own hand in the form of a
That
How many
golf club.
times was
makes
he
it
pumping
so
it up?
much darker.
It was
That you had
awful.
to like that you had
I
to
mean,
like put it out of its misery.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
over there double tapping a skunk, and then you're like, not good enough.
it
Get the
wasn't
9
dead,
iron.
dude.
Then you take
It
his
wasn't
golf
dead.
club.
Like, and I
Oh.
won't even lie to you, that was one of the hardest things I've ever had to do in my life. I've butchered a lot of animals and shit.
Yeah.
I've like had to like bludgeon anything, so that was pretty intense. And I won't even lie to you, like I had to hit it several times before it died.
Look at the smirk on her face.
Oh man, it's a good thing they don't make you do abortions like that, or I'd be in trouble.
Oh man. Oh God.
But Dante, it's okay because the world needs more of you. So just start making babies.
No, I need more of my money, and babies take that. So
True.
Money babies. Well, yeah.
My parents just had kids so that they could beat vermin to death with golf clubs, you know?
it worked. They got it.
Right, they got it.
Did you say which one it was? What club?
I don't know. It was an iron. I think it was like a 7-iron or something.
Don't let her fool you. She remembers. I bet she has that thing tucked
It's
away
trophied. Yeah.
She knows the count.
along with her other souvenirs for when she took care of vermin.
Shut up, Josh.
So Dante, what else have you been up to? Like what's going on with you?
I've been doing like Zoom shows. I've been trying to learn how virtual shows are gonna work. What else?
Well, let's talk about the Zoom shows for a second, because those are starting to pop up. Those are starting to get popular amongst comedians, so they can continue to perform for people. What's your experience been with those so far?
I've been having a blast. They're really fun. It's strange not having people live laughing at you, but you know, you do what you can. We figure it out.
Right. Do you think the reaction from people is the same, or do you think the Zoom is putting up a barrier between everybody? Dante?
Oh. We lost him.
That's a bad place to leave him too. Look at the faces.
There he is.
Oh, you're back.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. But back to the
sorry.
question.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. But yeah, I think that. I don't think it's a barrier necessarily. It just feels like it's a different experience. Like you learn these things, and like, you know, people, like, you start out at open mics with just comics in front of you, and you learn that, and then eventually you start having to do clubs, and that's a different experience. And then once you've got that under control, you'll move to, you know, theaters and then arenas or whatever. And it's a different thing you have to learn each step along the way. We just like got interrupted by this pandemic with a completely new step to everyone. So like even the great Dave Chappelle is having to learn how to do Zoom shows and things like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Everyone, I think we even talked about this the last time we were on, and I think Dante is frozen again. Okay, there you are. But I think we're in the right time for this to happen in terms of how to figure out new ways to perform because of this. Like even big shows like Saturday Night Live, their show format now is basically Zoom sketches and like the cast members making videos at their own house. Like yeah, and it I think it's going to be awkward for a little bit, but if things keep going the way they are, it's going to start to feel just like another way we can do comedy.
Yeah.
But
Can you hear any laughs, or is it just like you say you're joking and it's quiet?
So not on Zoom. Well, actually, if people don't mute themselves on Zoom, you can hear them laughing like it interrupts you. But
Right.
It was Twitch. I did a Twitch show, and what happens is they've got it set up to where you can't hear people laugh. They've just got a laugh track, and people can click a laugh button, and so you hear it like gives you feedback. And not only do you hear the laugh, but you see like the little laugh react emoji fly up. So if you like when you're going hard, see like the screen is just got all these emojis flying.
It's raining laughter.
Yeah, and you can hear it, and that's kind of dope.
All right, that's pretty cool.
Man, that's crazy, man.
So fuck Zoom. Let's all just start twitching.
Oh, I don't necessarily want to delve into the huge pit of gamers that is Twitch. So I have a suspicion of gamers. So let's just put it like that.
Do you want to elaborate on that, Josh?
Have you ever? No, I don't want to elaborate on that. Let's just say I've had a few experience in GTA 5 recently that have made me a bit salty. It made me a bit. I admit I was killed, respawned, and then that motherfucker just fucking. Anyway, Dante.
How do you know he fucked a mother?
Well, because he kept on saying that he had sex with my mother.
Well, your mom's a hoe, so.
Hey.
Just kidding. His mom's a wonderful lady.
Yes, she is a very wonderful lady, and also hot kettle.
Awesome. hey, everybody knows I'm a hoe. That's okay. I'll take it.
That's not. Oh,
you could be a hoe in 2020.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know I'm a hoe.
My mom.
You're just jealous.
Saying she's a hoe.
Oh, but I think hoeing right now in 2020 is very difficult.
There's not much.
Just ignore the warnings. Do you? Risk it to get the
biscuit.
Okay.
I mean, Corona's probably not the worst. Actually,
get the biscuit.
Isn't probably the worst disease you can get from sex. So.
Yeah, Josh said he's like, well, I'm probably not having sex for a year. I was like, bitch, mask up and put some gloves on. Let's go. What you talking about?
I have been utilizing Zoom. Zoom has been working out very well for me. So that's why I'm just like, no, we're not going to Twitch. We're staying on Zoom. And Dante is frozen again. Oh man, I shouldn't. I definitely should put this video up just to show like this I'm just saying I should put this video up on YouTube just to show like the screen you make the screen goes frozen, Dante. Like now.
Sorry, it keeps doing that. I don't know what's going on.
Well, you don't live in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Barack Obama did not come visit your town because you have the world's best internet. So it's not your fault.
Yes, and that and a decent, okay sports team is what we have to be proud of in Cedar Falls, Iowa.
Go Panthers. Of those cats.
So Dante, any plans? I've heard that you have a album you're working on.
The album is done. It's
Oh,
out
it's
May
done.
22nd.
22nd, right? Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's called The
I got
Squirrels
it.
Get Fat.
I got it pre-ordered.
It's number one pre-order, right?
Thank you. It was. I don't know if it is still, but yeah, it was for a moment. I had a great day. It was the number one comedy album in the world in terms of sales for a moment, which is, I never could have imagined that, but that's where we are.
That's pretty dope, man.
Yeah, come on. I'm not gonna name names, but I know other people that put out an album and hit number one. And like, to me personally, I think you're one of the funniest motherfuckers I've ever met. So like, I'm not surprised at all. And like, you were just talking about stuff like, I'm like, I see you in arenas. Like, I see you on that level. So when's it gonna be?
So what was the process in making this album for you? How and is this your first album that you made?
The first album, yep.
Yep. And how'd that come to being?
So Dan Schlissel at Stand Up Records saw me at a festival. He made an offer. I thought it over for a while, decided I wanted to do it, and then I put the material together. I kind of came up with the structure and the theme of the album. And then I went out, hit the road for about 9 months, somewhere around there. And then we recorded it at the Floodwater Comedy Festival. We edited it down, got everything in line for play on Sirius XM and with the streaming services. And now I just wait. I just have to wait till it drops, and then I get to hear what people think.
All right. What do you think is like an unforeseen challenge in doing an album like this?
Ooh, probably just for me, it was getting to a point where I was comfortable giving the label the control they needed. Like, I wanted to be in on everything. And at a certain point, I just came to the realization that, like, they know what they're doing. I don't need to try to because I had this thing in my head where I was like, I need to do it my way or whatever. And then it was like, I just realized, like, no, I need to let these people whose job it is to know how to do this stuff do it. And then I need to just make sure when I show up, the jokes are ready.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that made it way easy.
I bet that kind of thing is difficult because stand-up is, for the most part, it's pretty much all on you. Like, you gotta get your act together. You have to, polish your jokes and stuff like that. And to put that kind of trust in other people to get a product made of your talent has to be difficult to hand over.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think for me, like, just getting to the point where I reached that realization, it was really just me going, how do I make the jokes the absolute best version of themselves that I can? And it was like, I have to focus fully in on that. And once I did that, it just kind of made it easier to be like, you know what? I don't know how a room needs to be set up to record an album because I've never done it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what sort of setup we need to do the video recording. Like, I didn't know any of that stuff, and trying to be the one trying to put on the producer hat and be like, I want this, 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 and this. I mean, if it's something outrageous where, like, I want a specific person to be the one bringing me up on stage, like, yeah, that sort of thing you kind of have to micromanage if you want to. But again, for me, it was more like, what's the most important here is that when I tell these jokes, they're crushing. And
Nice. Yeah.
So with that being said, like with it being Floodwater, did you get to make the decision on who was the host on your album recording, or did they pick for you? Because I know it was Jake McDowell, but I'm just curious about that.
so what happened was they gave me a list, but they were like, we've picked out Lindsey Harney for night 1 and Jake McDowell for night 2. And I was like, oh, I love them, so just that works.
Either one.
Yeah, and I hadn't, because I think on the album, Lindsey is the one that brings me up, because at the second recording, we had James Doyle do it. But there was a person in attendance who we ended up getting their vocals over some of what James was doing, so we couldn't use that, which was unfortunate. But
because James is like, was he your choice? Like, he's like your best buddy, or?
Yeah, I did make that choice, and we were gonna kind of go with that. But it still, like, for me, it was just as dope that Lindsey and Jake did a great job hosting the shows. So that had the room ready for an album recording, and it turned out well. Like what they did, I can't measure how important they were to me, and I'm super thankful they decided to do that and be a part of it.
All right.
Hell yeah. I mean, I feel like you're a pretty lucky motherfucker to get on that show personally. So props to them and props to you for making it happen. And the album is called The Squirrels Get Fat, right? Yep. And it's available now, Spotify, Amazon Prime, and what else? What other?
It's iTunes, Amazon, and Google Play. It won't be on Spotify for a few months.
Okay.
All right. And you said there was cameras there, or is there going to be like a video component coming out?
Yeah, we don't know who we're going to do that through right now. We're fielding offers, so.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. I think what's going to happen with that is we're going to sell it to a streaming platform, and then they'll just.
Like a
Netflix.
Sure, why not?
If buy Dante's album.
They want it, sure. Probably Amazon Prime or something like that.
They Amazon Prime seems to be doing like a lot of like the big comedians that Netflix isn't getting, like Amazon is. Like I think Jim Gaffigan has a special, and I want to say one of the girls from Broad City also. But
okay, yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty dope. Yeah. So so I like weird road stories. So you've worked the road. Like what's some like weird fucked up things that you can tell us that have happened to you?
Oh man, something fucked up on the road. I don't know. I've performed in a lot of places with Confederate flags in them. That's probably. I had to. Oh, here's a fun one.
All right.
I have a fun joke I do about sex robots, and my grandmother came to see me perform, and I had to tell that joke in front of my grandmother.
How'd she react to that?
She laughed. She was like, "Wow." She's like, "You got it. That is true what you said."
My sex robot acts up all the time.
Yeah.
Because you're not originally from Iowa. You're from Louisiana, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. Was there any like culture shock coming up here?
I mean, a little bit. I wasn't prepared for winter, but I mean.
And 90% white people.
That either, but it just kind of is what it is.
I know that's something that you focus on too. Like right now or in the last year, I've noticed that you've really started to try and cultivate more of a, like specifically Black comedy scene in Iowa. Like, how's that journey been? Uh-oh.
He's frozen again.
It's been great. I like
All right.
light up when people love it. Like even Aloe, we have a great black scene in Iowa, and most people don't know about it because. Am I breaking up?
You're
A
breaking
little
up a
bit.
little. You're frozen. Oh, there you go. All right. Do you want to go over that again?
Okay. Sorry about this. Sure. Yeah, I caught the black Holy Ghost. It must have taken my
I think
signal.
Zoom is censoring him right now.
Yeah.
Like,
It's the government, man.
Zoom doesn't
They
want
want
there to
people
be
to
a
know
black
about-
comedy
You
scene
get
in
to the
Iowa.
black
Like-
part, it just fucks up.
I had to laugh too, because like, okay, we're in the gallery mode or whatever, and like it put me and Josh on top of you and Aloe, and I'm just like, fuck you, Zoom. You
No,
suck.
like in mine, like me and Al are on top, and you and Dante are bottoms.
Oh, hey. Makes sense.
Are you there, Dante?
Is he back?
We have no idea what is going on with Dante right. I guess this is good that this is happening in. Oh, Galaxy 10 has Galaxy. I think that's him. It's a new participant. Is that there? You are. There you are. We got. So, okay, you gotta
I'm
let.
sneaking in from my phone, guys.
All right, yeah, turn your laptop off.
I'm doing it.
Look at my boobs. There we
All
go.
right, there
Okay.
you go.
Hey.
All right. Wow.
All right.
Okay, so back to what we were talking about.
Back to the very serious topic we were talking about. So yeah, the black comedy scene in Iowa. What's your perspective on that, Dante?
Well, just that
We needed this. Like
Right.
it's we didn't have room. I remember because here in Des Moines we've got me, Perry Thompson, Clifton Antoine, Bernard Bell. We've never been booked on a show together that wasn't booked by us. Like none of us. There's never been at least two of us on a single show that was booked independent of black bookers. And at a certain point, you're just like, it's a little strange. And it's like,
Well, yeah.
I
Continue.
don't think anyone here is being racist necessarily, but it's just like there's so few black people that if you put two of us on a show, then the next time you do a show, if two of us aren't available, you don't have any black people. And so it's like, we just kind of got to a point where we were like, yeah, that's cool and all, but we would like it a whole lot if we were doing stuff together. And so that's kind of where we.
And so that's when you started up like the comedy kickback.
Yep.
Can you tell people a little bit about that show?
It's just a show that, so along with us, you've got Day Peace in Mason City, and then you've got Aloe out in the corridor. And we just decided we wanted to bring us all together if we could. And so from that, we called up Muhammad, y'all, and we just started doing these one-off shows at random around town. We found a venue that would let us do shows. We say, all right, we're bringing a kickback. It's going to be all black. If we have people from out of town, they're going to be black. It's just going to be a black-ass show with black-ass jokes, and it's going to be great. And we've managed to do that with quality performances. So I'm like thrilled about it.
Yeah, I'm super stoked on that too, because like personally, like for me as a booker, I always try and like bring an extremely diverse lineup. So like you said, it can be a little difficult because there have been times where I've wanted to do something similar, but like you said, I'll hit people up and they're like, well, I'm not available for that date, kind of a thing, you know? So I just think it's awesome that you guys are doing that, and I'm proud of you guys and super stoked on it myself.
Nice.
So how those shows like go? How not to do this, the stereotypical 80s stand-up comedy setup, but how are black comedy shows different than white comedy shows? And make sure to do the voices.
The Kool-Aid, no. Just kidding.
I've only done one.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you to speak to it. Like, how do you feel doing our show versus what you've like what you may get in Iowa City?
Yeah, the one that I did, it was just basically put on. Everybody who was involved in it was black, even the bartender, I think. But the audience, it's still Iowa, so the audience was predominantly white. But there was a lot more black people than I usually see at doing shows around here that were in it. But I mean, I don't know, jokes are jokes. You know, you just gotta get them out there and do them as best you can. It was a great show for me. I think that was the New Year's Eve one.
Yeah, that was, ooh, boy. We had some fun. Let's just say that.
Well, what happened at that show that you guys had some fun?
Some of it we can't discuss, but
Whoa, okay. Fuck you.
Hey man, listen, and there are people involved that aren't us that we have to protect.
Okay, all right, fair enough.
But yeah, that was really dope. I mean, the thing I've noticed about our show that's different than what you're gonna get at a traditional show is the like the varied perspective of black people. So like
right.
you got like Bernard Bell. This guy is hilarious. He's gonna go up and crush, and he's not gonna touch Trump or a lot of the material that tends to be overused in the alt comedy circles. You've got Clifton Antoine, who's gonna do jokes about, you know, getting high in space. You've got Aloe, who's gonna do jokes about he's gonna do a lot of jokes about his name, Aloe Black, who deserves to have jokes about it. He deserves it. And then
it's okay, Aloe. I know that you cure burns, so you're just gonna...
But I mean, you got like Perry Thompson, who's, you know, up there singing Prince songs. You got me talking about squirrels. You got all this stuff going on, and we're attacking so many different things from so many different angles. And at a lot of the shows you go to, what you're going to hear is guys talking about how much they jerk off and watch porn and how much they drink, or, you know,
lame.
I mean, but a lot of it's funny that they are able to write jokes about it, but you tend to get a single layer of what they represent. Whereas we were able to bring each other together and be like, yo, you're dope and you're not doing what I do. And people make it seem like we all do the same stuff. And
that's just like my thought on it too, is just like that real camaraderie, you know, that you have. Like, we all have our little, you know, groups or whatever, like people we do stuff with or people we work with most of the time. Like, I have like a similar memory of like doing this show that was all redheaded women, which was just like, how the fuck is that even possible? You know, like, how are there even that many redheaded women comics around to make a whole show around that?
Sassy
But it was just like something afterwards, just like, you know, how like after a show, 9 times out of 10, you take that like group photo to be like, yeah, we just did this, you know, the show's over kind of thing. And like, just having that picture with me next to, you know, 6 powerful women that all have red hair is like, yeah, we just fucking did this shit, you know, because like, where else are you going to see that? So especially for Iowa, like what you're doing, I think is like really fucking cool and special, you know. So
do you
thank you
do you guys, and you're in like, you know, different positions here, but do you guys feel like Iowa has a problem with diversity in comedy, or like the demographic of comedians?
I don't know. I think they have that issue with population. Like, it's not It's not necessarily the comedy. It's that there just aren't that many black people here. But I mean, again, we've been finding each other. It takes some time, but we get around to it. And I mean, like the last actual show I did was a show in Cedar Rapids, and Aloe was on that. And there was a sense of calm to what I was doing because there was another black person there. And then not only him, but there was another black guy there who wasn't one of us. He was just in the audience. And even that was kind of like, yo, it's like, I'd made the joke there. I was like, just so you know, everywhere I go, I count the black people, but it's not that hard. Like, it only takes one hand normally. So like, it's a population thing, not necessarily the scenes, I think. I don't know though.
Yeah. Well, it's crazy to me too, because like I said, like my show runs out of Rodney's Kitchen, which is a soul food restaurant. And like our audience is generally like 50% black or more. You know what I mean? So like that's something that is important to me too, is like cultivating diversity in Iowa. And I don't know, just doing, I wouldn't say like better than other bookers or whatever, but just making sure that no matter who walks through the door, they're going to be able to connect with somebody. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I just think that's important. But that's just my take on it, you know.
Do you guys think that the internet has helped in that goal of trying to put on different shows?
I don't know. I'm not really fucking with it like that, I guess.
All right. I mean, just like trying to find people. Like I know, like before the internet, I don't know how I would have found like all these different comedy communities.
I get it does help that way, but like also it like we would have. I feel like we all would have hit it off and become friends and work together even without it. But yeah, it definitely makes it easier, I guess.
Okay. All right.
Aloe, I know you were mentioning that you had some questions specifically that you wanted to ask Dante.
When did I say that?
The other day when we were talking.
Oh, really?
Oh, are you getting embarrassed or shy now?
No, I might have forgot him. I don't know. I don't remember saying that, but
whatever is happening over there, that the gurgling sound starts and there's smoke all over. I think you might have a gas leak or something, Aloe.
Probably.
But okay.
I hadn't heard anything. I don't know what you're talking about.
Here Josh goes again.
I'm being a snitch right now.
He's like the cop on the show.
Stay hydrated out here.
Well, okay, so let's talk about some more general stuff, as in what are your guys' thoughts about the recent news about the everything opening back, or things being allowed to open up?
Well, it's going to happen eventually, and it's going to be different.
Right.
We'll just adjust to it, or not.
Right, but like Kim Reynolds, I mean, I guess officially opening up the state again.
Lil Kim.
Lil Kim. Kim,
are we really calling
Kim
her
has
that?
a tinfoil hat on. I will tell you that much. She thinks that, I don't know what she thinks, but she's crazy as hell.
Yeah,
I'm not with Kim. Sorry, Kim, but fuck you.
And it's probably on me for this, but I don't really know our state government leaders until they say something or do something completely awful and bullshit. Like, I didn't know who Steve King was before he started to go off on Mexicans. Like, yeah, so like
well,
now
that's part of the problem. Like, people need to be more informed about what's going on at a statewide level, because we are electing Congress people and senators that are making decisions on a national level. And realistically, until we vote a lot of these old ass motherfuckers out of there that don't give a shit about us and only care about, you know, getting the rich people richer kind of shit because they're rich, we're gonna be fucked. You know, nothing's gonna change. And that's, I feel like, a huge part of why people don't participate in government at a local level, or even go out and vote in the small elections, because nothing's changing on a national level or even a small level to them in their minds. So it's more or less like, well, why would I participate? But that's what needs to happen. And especially with people in our age demographic, you know, between the ages of 20 and 40, like, we got to get our shit together and start making our votes count.
Yeah.
I don't know. Sorry about the rant.
Nah, I mean, you're right. I went out to Sam's Club yesterday, and it was packed. It was like an actual club. Like, there was a line to get in. It was like people were.
There were bouncers.
Yeah,
I was just about to say there were like people checking your ID at the door, and like it was not like they didn't have
a wristband.
Well, no, instead of the wand to like check if you got any guns on you, they had one checking your temperature. So it was an honest to God club experience.
Yeah.
Right.
What's the number? What's the number you can't be above?
I don't know.
100. I think anything above 100, there
You gotta go home.
Yeah.
It's like you can't wear that in here, dog.
But what's crazy too, like, is like, I know you guys probably aren't really in the rave scene or whatever, but like for years and years and years, like masks have been super popular in the rave scene. So like, yeah, it's like you're in the fucking club.
That
like,
actually makes sense. Like that, you know, weirdly.
Like I have my
like
best friend has a mask that just says, "Let's get fucked up" or whatever, that she's had for like 8 years. And she's like, "Oh, I never thought I'd wear a mask other than at a rave." I'm like, well, at least you have one that's semi-fashionable. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. Well, about like, you know, voting and stuff like that. There's a lot of people who are very disillusioned because of, you know, Joe Biden getting the Democratic nomination, and it really just, you know, a lot of people are just like, this is not a good step forward. But even if like, I'm just gonna say my piece. Even if you don't vote for Joe Biden, go out and vote down ticket, vote local, because I think at this point that's going to be the best thing to do for harm reduction, as opposed to voting for a guy you really don't want to be president over another guy you really don't want to be president.
I'm a little torn.
You're a little torn.
I'm gonna vote for Joe, and then
I'm voting for Joe too. I don't want to, but got to. So
I don't mind it. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a good person, so I can't be out here. I can't be out here judging Joe Biden and Republicans. Like, I also, like, here's the thing. I hope that what Tara Reid is saying is not true. But if it is, I kind of want to put some fear back in Republicans. They're like, yeah, I'll vote for a rapist too, okay? It's not just you guys. I won't rape anyone, but I'll vote for one. Don't, like, you don't know me.
God damn it.
I do feel like that's a really fucked up position. Well, to be honest, like, that's a fucked up position I think the DNC has put in. Is just like, you know, hey.
I shouldn't even, like, I should not even laugh about that, but like.
But that's the thing.
I don't know.
That's the vote. It's just like,
I think you
vote for this.
The absurdity of what I'm saying, so we're on the same page.
Yeah, it's just like the decision is between one old guy with dementia who might have raped somebody.
They're not that different.
Like, against
honestly.
another old guy with dementia who might have raped somebody. Like,
well, okay.
We're in right
I feel like I don't know, because like they say, you know, they're wolves in sheep's clothing. Like, I know that to be true as a fact in my life. Like, whatever. The fact that Donald Trump is bold enough to say publicly, or have a video that was released that said, yeah, I grab him by the pussy, I can do whatever I want because I'm a star, and he still got elected, is beside me. Like, I still can't fathom that. But at the same time, like, going to bed that night, I knew when I woke up, I couldn't even watch. I knew in the morning when I woke up that he was going to be our president. And I cried myself to sleep, and my ex-husband sat up and was laughing about it and thought it was super funny. And I was just like, we're getting divorced. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to think about the allegations against Joe Biden or whatever. And it's just weird. It's just all weird. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do like to think back about, like, right after Trump was elected and how everybody came out with all of those Biden memes, the
Right.
Obama Biden memes, and how much everybody loved Joe Biden, and now everybody just hates Joe Biden so much. Like,
Well, here's the thing:
where's
when he
that
was
coming
vice
into
president,
play? You know?
let's face it though, vice president is a nothing position. Like, you don't have to do anything as long as you keep your mouth shut, keep your head down. No one will bother you. Like, the only reason, God, who's dad, who's papa, the vice president now?
Mike Pence.
Mike Pence, yeah. Like, the only reason he ever comes up is because he does keep saying like dumb shit. Like, you didn't hear anything from Joe Biden in those 8 years he was vice president.
Well, here's the thing. Like, realistically, the president doesn't really fucking do that much either.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's the Congress people and the senators that are doing the shit.
That's why I'm torn.
Now, the president is speaking on all of it, and he is the leader because he's putting out the message, like, this is what everybody needs to hear. This is how we're going to, unify or whatever. But realistically, that motherfucker doesn't have any power at all. It's just like Trump trying to be like, oh, I'm going to declare war on Iran. Well, he can't fucking do that. Just because you're the president doesn't mean you can do whatever the fuck you want. And Trump seems to think that, or like to put that message out there, but that's not reality, because all these things that he said, well, I'm putting an executive order on this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. None of that has fucking happened. And that's why I'm also confused why people are just still like, oh yeah, he's just the best. Well, really, he really doesn't have that much say in any of it anyways. And there's a lot of criticism based on policy, but none of these policies are his. He's not writing bills. He's not making laws, He's just out there saying, yeah, I support this or I don't support this. It's literally the senators and the Congress people who are actually running shit. So,
well, my favorite, and this goes back to, like, we were talking about QAnon. I love QAnon conspiracies because they make Donald Trump seem like a superhero. There is this weird inflated sense of who Donald Trump is. And there's this political cartoonist that I always seem to run into on Twitter. And his cartoons are all like this. I'm going to put my phone up to the screen, but look at Donald Trump in that.
Shape.
That, can you believe anybody can? It's like, is there a form of body dysmorphia, but as you envision other people?
I was gonna ask for his info so I can have them make a cartoon of me.
Make you look like Emma Stone?
No, I didn't say all that.
I just went
trying to
with
live
the
out
first
your
redheaded
weird
celebrity
fantasies
I could remember.
here, Josh. I was like, trying to live out your weird fantasies here.
Okay.
We know Emma Stone's on your kill list. It's fine.
She's on my kill list?
Yep.
Emma Stone is somewhere on a podcast wishing that someone could draw a picture of her looking like you.
Yes.
Oh.
There. That's what I meant to say.
Thank you, Dante.
Dante just actually agreed with me. So there, I'm not wrong.
Okay, moving on.
No,
but it's been that way for a long time though. Like political cartoons,
cartoons are awful. They're the worst form of cartooning.
I want to see a whole newspaper just full of political cartoons because there's enough fucking funny ass shit going on every goddamn day that it could be a whole comic book every month. But
you mean just cartoons like in a newspaper? Because there's some political cartoons that are great.
Yeah, that's what I'm
animation
saying.
Or what do you mean?
No, yeah, just in a newspaper, print cartoons.
Yeah, there's art that is political. Like, say, just one that pops off the top of my head. Like, talk about comic strips, the Boondocks, like that comic strip, and then the series later, very political, very good, very smartly written. But the political cartooning is like a certain genre in and of itself. Like, they have to have everything has to be labeled. So it's just like the economy is like in big bold letters as like, I don't know, a fucking shark or some shit. Like that's specifically what political cartoons typically are.
Well, it's a lot like stand up too, and like there's so many things that come from like a little tiny seed, you know, and you're like, as a comic, you're like planting the seed, but like what you're actually harvesting in real life is way different than what you're harvesting in the joke. Like it's way exaggerated, you know, and that's the point of cartooning. It's just like a caricature, you know. You're painting a picture, but is that picture, if you're not painting a picture that someone else can develop in their mind into a bigger product, what are you doing, you know? So I think that they're kind of similar, really. Like you can tell a story. I would tell a story to my family, and I would tell it straightforward, and they would think it's fucking hilarious. I could go, because they know me. If I tell that same story on stage, people are going to look at me like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then you develop it, you know, instead of this size of something, or, you know, like, oh, it was the size of a penny. Well, now all of a sudden it's the size of a basketball. So, you know, you're just, I don't know. I guess I don't really know where I'm going with this, but it is like, it's an exaggeration. The same thing with political cartooning is like, it's taking an inkling of a truth and it's planting that seed and turning it into something that people think is fucking funny, that they can relate to, that's quasi real but not real, you know.
Okay. All right. So
yeah, that's the craft. That's
pretty much,
the
yeah.
craft.
I mean, you guys are both nodding and looking at me like you get it, but of course no one's gonna see that because this is a podcast. So thanks for.
Oh yeah, I forgot we
watching
don't do the video.
I might put the video up.
I don't want you to put the video up because I don't want people to see how much I drink while we're doing
Oh, liberty, liberty, liberty. Everybody who knows you in real life knows that you're a lush.
Well,
that was a joke, by the way.
Fucking real life, Josh.
Hearing like how quiet.
Thank
that
you,
was.
Aloe.
Everybody.
Oh no,
Damn.
I wasn't toasting. Starbucks is paying me for that. I wish.
Just like they paid us to all wear black T-shirts.
Yeah, everybody's wearing a rock band. You got a rock band on, Dante?
I don't.
No, but it was hilarious.
You could say it's Black Flag.
Yeah, that Black Flag.
Yeah,
you've never even listened to Black Flag a moment in your life.
That is true.
We could spin them right now. I got their album. Well, one of them. But no, it was funny. I came on the screen and all the guys were already in the chat, and I was quote unquote late, according to Josh.
Yes, you were
whatever.
late. All right, this always happens only with you.
I was late last week.
Yeah, and the last one to enter this week was Dante too. So
hey, Dante is a guest in this house. Okay.
Whatever. I know this is the hot. I'm sorry, Josh. I'm sorry I was late, but
that's all I wanted.
All three of you guys were wearing black T-shirts, and then Dante was struggling with his technical difficulties. So I was like, God damn it, I'm gonna go change into a black T-shirt. So now we have official uniforms. That's Kayla.
I mean, I guess.
Hey.
Camaraderie.
So one thing I kind of love is in the genre of stand-up videos is the heckler clips. You guys have any good heckler stories? Anybody?
I got heckled by a dude's house arrest ankle bracelet one time.
Right, and that's on video actually.
Yeah, that was not fun.
That was at the Funny Bone?
No, that was at the Blue Room Comedy Club.
Oh yeah.
That's the only one. The rest of them, I don't like hecklers. I don't like owning them. I like when I get to just tell my jokes and go home.
Do you think that genre of video has emboldened hecklers and like makes them think that that's a part of the show? Because I think I've come across that.
I fucking hope not.
it's
I
also
don't think so.
hecklers are gonna heckle. Yeah.
Yeah. 9 times out of 10 they're ruining the show, so most people hate hecklers.
I had this guy. Well, this is a funny story. I like to talk about the octopus. It's a great room.
Mhm.
I was on the showcase, and it was a show that people actually paid to get into there, which doesn't happen very often at the octopus. And there are flyers plastered all over the place, and there's these two dudes sitting at the bar. There's like 80 people in the octopus, which is packed. It's packed. And so Sophia Smerendescu had gone up, and Sarah Maddox had gone up, and I was about to go up, and these guys had been talking through the whole fucking show. And like 3 or 4 different people came up to me and said something like, "Hey, Liberty, you're going to do something about it." And I'd gone and said something like, "Hey guys, it's a comedy show. Like, move to the back of the room if you want to talk like that, or go on the beer garden, whatever." So it keeps happening. Finally, I go up, and they're heckling during my set, and I just stopped everything, and I was like, "Yo, dude, what's your name?" And he's like, "My name's Fred." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. Nice to meet you, Fred. My name's Liberty." And he was like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "Yeah, see that poster right in front of your face?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I was like, "That's my picture on there. And see right next to it, the $10 price tag?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, look around. Every person in this motherfucker paid $10 to see me tonight, and they don't want to hear you."
Hey.
He was just like, "What?"
That's kind
And
of a
then
classic.
I was like, "On the count of 3, can everybody tell him to shut the fuck up?" And I just counted to 3, and literally everybody in there just screamed at him to shut the fuck up, and it was just done. And it was lucky because the headliner was still coming up, so it's just like one of those moments that I'm like, Dante, I don't ever want to have to deal with that. I want to be interesting or entertaining enough that you just keep your goddamn trap shut while I'm on stage. But that was pretty memorable for me. And like the first moment I was like, "Oh, I got him." I got him. Like, shut his little ass down. Fuck you, Fred.
Fuck you.
And
I
hopefully he won't do it again,
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing is, if you,
Hopefully he killed
I don't
himself.
know, hopefully.
Yeah.
Hello, putting that out in the world.
Sorry, I have high hopes.
I'm more of a realist. I hope he just had an accident on the way home.
Jeez, Dante.
I didn't say he died. I just had an accident. I mean, he could have.
Like, he could have pissed his
himself.
pants.
That's an accident.
My man, Aloe, right there with me.
What'd he say?
He could have shitted himself. That's an accident.
Yeah. I there was one time I was hosting a mic, and we had a I'm not gonna put out places because the place we did that wasn't a great venue. I think like Liberty knows what I'm talking about. It was back when I was co-hosting with her ex-husband. But I was doing this on my own, and everything was going great except these guys in the corner were arguing, and I all of a sudden I heard the phrase 9/11, and it's just like, oh fuck. Oh, this isn't good. And I kind of, because they weren't like being super loud, but they were like talking at a normal like level. And eventually I had, because it's just like I had to be like, "Hey guys, cool it." And also I should have, I knew as soon as I heard 9/11, and just like, oh, this is bad. I should shut this down now, but I didn't. Like anybody in, and I think this was like 2015, anybody still like talking about 9/11 in that way at a bar at like 9:30 on a Saturday is not going to be helpful in the crowd. But anyway,
that room in particular that you're talking about too had a lot of like extremely drunk hecklers.
Yeah, that room, because it's one of those bars that's incredibly narrow.
Well, it's so small, it's just so small. If one person's talking, that's not the performer, you're fucked. Like,
yeah,
I don't know.
yeah, exactly. And Yeah, and then to just do an open mic on a Saturday night, I don't know what exactly.
Yeah, what were you guys thinking? I would have never let you do
I
that.
I just jumped onto it to be a host,
I would have been
and
like, oh hell no, we ain't doing this.
well, you know that now.
Showcase our best.
Yeah. Anyway, any other weird things you guys want to talk about? Experiences like Dante. Any interesting stories?
Not really. I try to be pretty even keel, and that's the energy I generally get back.
Okay.
I have this thing that I used to do. I sometimes still do it when I come on stage. It's like I go, it's from it's like a East Coast thing. They do it on Jesus and Meryl a lot. But
Yeah.
she knows the story because she was there. We had a gig in where is it? What was the place called?
Denison?
Yeah, Denison, Iowa. Yeah, and it was like kind of
Oh God.
and it was a kind of a auditorium. And there was
Oh,
like
it was a theater. It's the Donna Reed Theater. Donna Reed from It's a Wonderful Life was born in
Yeah.
Denison, Iowa. We got to do the theater there. I headlined it, and
Here's the thing, though. There was
and
about
Josh
75 people in a probably, I don't know, 500 seat theater. There was a lot of seats, but it was very, very small crowd.
Not
That-
And I
5.
came
There
out,
weren't
and
500.
I was like, yeah, and it echoed, and there was no one clapping. And when I listened to that, that was the first time I thought about suicide just for
Oh my God.
1 second. That's how much it hurt just to hear it silence and there's nothing.
Yeah, it was weird. It was super weird because this was like a really good paying show and great venue, and like we were super well taken care of.
Yeah, it was a great
And
experience. Other
they're
than that
like,
one moment.
oh, there's gonna be 400 people there, and it was a corporate gig, so it was like basically like a holiday party or like a yearly party for this big, corporation. And they're like, oh yeah, there's gonna be 400 people there, and me and Aloe and Josh Francis walk in together with Matt Anderson, who actually booked us on that show, which was thank
That was
you
Matt.
for that. Like, thank you so much. And we're like, well, where are all the people at? The show is supposed to start in like 15 minutes, and there's like, at that time, 30 people outside chain smoking cigarettes and 40 people in the seats, and we're just like, wait, what? That was, yeah, I know what you mean about
And
that
they were
show.
far back too. They were probably 20 rows back there.
Yeah, they all sat like 10 rows back, and like it was just weird.
So it
But
just
like
echoed,
that was a super fun night. But we fucking partied our asses
it was
off.
a great
There was
night.
the strip club in that town, if you
You-
have a chance to go to,
Do-
has like the
now,
honeys.
are you okay telling this story, or should we wait until we get Josh Francis on the podcast to tell this? 'Cause
Whoa.
the way you told me,
What about the babes?
yeah, about him falling in love with the stripper.
Oh yeah, I mean, we were all in love with the strippers. I was just trying not to make eye contact because I don't want to pay him any of this money I just made. I was like, I'm not trying to give you bitches any money. The pool tables in this town are $1.50 a piece. I can't afford this shit. Like, what the fuck? But no, we had a really good time. And then afterwards, we went back to the hotel room, and they had given us like, probably 8 half-size catering dishes full of shit, like meatballs and like chicken wings and desserts, and just like, I mean, we had all this food. And so we're all in this comped hotel room, the 4 of us, smashing on all this food. I'm snuggling Josh Francis in bed, and we're watching the tape of the whole show over again, and we're all just like, oh hell no, we can't watch this shit. It was awful.
Bad. It was so
awful.
bad.
But good times. Good fucking times.
What about you, Don? What do you think is your favorite experience performing, or like a really unique experience you've had as a performer?
Oh boy, it's so much crazy fun shit. Man, I can't believe I'm struggling to think of one. There's so many that are like just the weirdest thing, because comedy presents you with that. I would go. Okay, I kind of have to edit some of this stuff in my mind so I don't get anyone else in trouble when I say it. So I went to Kearney, Nebraska for a one-off show with another black comedian, and we we
I'm
not a
just
lot of
like,
black
and
people.
Kearney, Nebraska sounds like a kind of deliverance type town.
Yeah,
Where Carnies live.
yeah, pretty much. And so we got there and the show was fine. Wasn't what like not a lot of people there when we get there, but people end up showing up. We hung out for a while afterwards, and then we went back to the hotel, but we decided we wanted to go to Perkins. And we went to Perkins, and Perkins was packed. Like,
what time of night was this?
This is like 11:30. So
Okay.
like not prime Perkins hours.
Right.
But it's packed with like old people. So like
11:30 at night?
11:30 at night. And then there's one table of high schoolers, and then our waitress, the other comedian ended up hitting on her a little bit, and she was like, "No, I can't give you my number. Like, I'm not. You don't want my number. I just got out of prison. I actually live in a halfway house."
Wait, what?
And yeah, we just ended up. It was just so strange, and I just remember we had so much fun, just like going and doing the show. Like the rest of that stuff happened and we laughed about it, but it didn't really matter. We were just kind of like, yo, we walked into Perkins and you could have heard like a record scratch. It was just like everything came to a stop. Everybody looked at us, and then when we were leaving Perkins, we were talking to the waitresses there, and one of them said something kind of rude to me. And I said something along the lines of like, "Why do you keep talking to me like I'm a hoe? Like, you know I can fight, right?" And then this guy, like this dude that worked at Perkins came out, and he was like, "Oh." And I was like, "Whatever, Razor Ramon, I'll body slam you too." And the other comedian was laughing. He was laughing so hard that we just like left. We were like, okay, we obviously aren't in the mood to defend ourselves. We just got to get out of here. But like going through that kind of experience with another comedian is incredible, and we had an absolute blast.
Fantastic. So you were about to write a check your ass couldn't cash.
No, we could have handled this situation very easily, but we just weren't. That's not the energy we were on.
All right. Well, we should probably start wrapping this up. So we would like to do a thing where we shout out a local business on our end. Dante, I'll give you a chance to do that. If you can think of a good business in Des Moines that you'd like to make people aware of, or to help them out, or just keep patronizing them.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to.
Okay. And I think we're going to shout out right now. We had a choice of a few things through this business, but we've already shouted them out twice, but might as well get a little bit more into it. Rodney's Kitchen, which Lib uses, which Lib has worked with to do comedy shows, but it's actually kind of become a staple of Waterloo. And
yeah, I mean, Rodney does so much for the community. Like in the summer, he does a free kids sack lunch program. I think last summer he gave away something like 60,000 free meals to kids in Waterloo, Iowa.
Wow.
Yeah, and he does things like that all the time. And right now he's doing kind of like a focus-driven Friday, where on Fridays he provides all the food and he sells all the meals, and all the profits go to other small businesses in our community that aren't able to be open right now. So keep supporting Rodney's. He does, I mean, astronomical amounts for the community. And if you ever need anything, he's going to be there for you too. But yeah, we didn't really discuss that. We were going to go into it, but Rodney is definitely killing it. He's been killing it for me as a personal friend and for comedy in the Cedar Valley and providing us with a room that we can work in, and also just food for anyone in need. So last week he was in support of a barber business. I don't really know what he had going on this week, but I know he's doing a weekly sort of thing on Friday nights. So if you want to go support him on Fridays, that'd be great.
Yep. So there's that. Dante, do you have one you have in mind?
Sure. I want to just every bar in Des Moines, I want them to go ahead and open back up right now. And no, I'm kidding.
I need a haircut.
I definitely want to take a second to shout out Teehee's Comedy Club because they're local. They do great work for comedians here. So if you're listening, you can buy gift cards to Teehee's still and use them once they open back up. It's it's one of those things that if we lose it, everyone suffers, but with it being here, everyone gains from it. So
Absolutely.
I definitely want to give them as much love as I can.
Are they selling merch too, or just the gift cards?
I'm not sure. I'd have to double check, but I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, and like we said, Sid and AJ started that comedy club, who are just Iowa comics that had a dream, So it's kind of an incredible thing they're doing. So I'm 100% behind that. We mentioned them last show, but definitely go to their website and support them. They're on Facebook too. I don't have the link for it.
Yeah, great. So Rodney's Kitchen, especially if you're in the Cedar Falls, Waterloo area, especially try to patronize them on Fridays because they help a lot of people, and just patronize them in general. And Teehee's.
And it's teeheescomedy.com is the website.
Get some gift cards.
And they're in a fully independent comedy club. Like Dante said, it's an incredible thing they're doing down there. So.
And
yeah, absolutely. And
right now, I just want to say we shouted out the Octopus Survival Fund they have on GoFundMe. Octopus Bar here does a lot for local performers. They are $25 away from meeting their goal on GoFundMe. So,
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, any one of you can help them get their goal met. But that's all been great. Anybody else got anything to say real quick before we wrap it up? No?
I'll shout out the other comedy clubs. Shout out to Penguin. Shout out to Comedy Bar. Shout out to
Hell yeah.
Shout out to the Brew. Shout out to everybody.
Funny Bone.
Oh, you give it up for the Brew. Love it. Yeah. Iowa Unite, we're all still out here. We're gonna bring comics from all over the state because we love it. We I know you guys all feel the same way I feel. There's a map in Iowa for comedy that is growing and the web is spreading, and there's a lot of really positive stuff going on throughout the state. So super cool, and it's an honor and a privilege to have Dante Powell on our show. Holy shit, how we get him.
Yeah, and
go buy his album.
Yes. Thank you guys for having me. Yeah, definitely buy the album. That's
and
go get that album. Fat Squirrels Forever.
The track list alone had me. You said Merle hit them all the track. I was like, oh man, I'm from Des Moines originally, so I was like, oh man, I got to get this shit.
Yeah, and Dante, if you're okay with it,
right?
Would you mind us playing a clip from your album on the show?
I'm working on getting one from the label, and we'll definitely.
Right. Well, you know what? I'll play a clip from one of your YouTube videos that I find very funny. How about that?
There we go. That works too.
Yeah. All right, great. So Dante, why don't you go first with your plugs?
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. Tell people where they can find you and all the info on your album again.
You can find me on Facebook, Dante Powell Comedy. Make sure you follow Black Iowa Stream so you can keep up with all the Black comedian cool stuff in Iowa. You can also find me on Twitter at Dante Powell, DantePowell, and on Instagram I am Moose Rattler, MooseRattler. And then make sure you pre-order the album, The Squirrels Get Fat. It's available on iTunes, Amazon, basically any streaming platform you use, Google Play, it'll be available on. Go ahead, buy it, support that. It'll be available May 22nd, but if you pre-order it now, you don't have to worry about it then.
All right. Aloe and Lib, you got anything?
No, not really. I'm just happy to be here.
Okay.
I had a show coming up Wednesday,
wherever
but
you
it's
find
probably
me.
canceled. I'm a little salty about it.
No, the states reopen. You can do that. How about you name it?
This is it for us, Josh. We're just doing this. This is it.
No, how about you do this? You do the coughing in your face comedy show, and you're not even you're like right up to them, and you're doing your act, but every once in a while you just cough right into their mouth.
Okay.
Can I just spit on them
I
instead?
feel like that would fuck up my rhythm.
I
so
feel like a
don't know.
lot of people would be into that, Liberty.
More into the coughing, I think. Whatever.
All right, Dante, thank you again for being on.
Thank you guys for having me, man.
All right, and signing off, I'm Josh Pfizer.
Hey, Liberty Bell.
I don't mean.
All right, and thank you all
Oh.
for joining us in the Fancy Werewolf Lounge. You don't have
Oh, yeah,
to
you're
go
supposed to-
home,
oh, I
but you
forgot.
can't stay here. Good night, everybody.